the meeting to order. So I'll stand and pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. We do have trustee Lisa Schmidt is absent with notice. And we have President Carl Gilmore, Vice President Crystal Andel, Treasurer Patricia Miller, Secretary Vicki Knight, Trustees Jason Petz and Sharon Kinley. I'm Library Director Julie Milivek. We have staff Debbie Maxwell and Lisa Pappas with us today. We also have our accountant Kelly Zabinski back there in the back, our owners rep Graham Harwood, Julie Scher, and Don McKay from Nagel Hartray Architects. Kim, I totally blanked on your last name. Thank you. From Public Research Group, Vicki Polito, our favorite member of the public on the camera, and of course Vikas Shaker from the Herald News.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. All right, so open it to public comment first. Anyone, anything to say that's not on the agenda later?
I did attend the riverfront building opening for a while. I wasn't there one time, but they've done an excellent job of preparing and making that building very, very informative.
Very good. I still need to get down there myself.
I was there today, and it is well done. Really was impressed. I also went to the alumni tea since I couldn't quite make it to be in the parade for homecoming. But I thought it was excellent in terms of our ability to see the awards that were presented, etc. And I would do it.
Excellent. So there were three of us who rode in the parade. Jason, myself, and Sharon. Lisa rode, as well as Lisa, who's not here, right? Okay, yeah. But we were very fortunate to have a couple of cars that we were able to ride in. I thought that showed very well. I could see lots of surprised eyes as we rode by. So that was nice. Anyone else? Trustee attendance at community events. All right, then we will move on to the consent agenda, please. We have two dates worth of meetings, minutes for review and approval. Anyone have any comment on any of those four?
I wanted a clarification, I guess, on page 4, where it's, I guess, second line from the bottom of the first paragraph. And I just wanted, is it really bizarre employment law? Is that the name of it? B-A-Z-A-A-R?
I've not found where you're...
Second line from the bottom, first paragraph.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you're right. We've got the wrong bazaar. We're going to the bazaar instead of seeing the bazaar. Spell check doesn't help you if you make words.
Right.
Right.
Right. I just wondered whether I missed something.
No, we were going to the bazaar. Well, you know,
I kind of like this one better.
Yeah. Well, you know, it does include collective bargaining is the
Yes.
with bargaining is
Sure.
one of the
That's
words
true.
before it. I think
True.
that kind of bizarre kind of.
In the next paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down, I think it's he would withdraw from both libraries.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
These are just minor clarifications and things like typos or whatever.
Anything else?
Number 5 under public comment. I don't think there should be a comment.
Page 5.
A comma.
Page
Page
5.
5 under public comment.
Ah.
Second line. There's a comma between control and spending. It's used to control.
Oh, no
spending.
comma.
No
Yep.
comma. So I think that.
It is used to control.
Yeah. I just thought that was an interesting premise.
We wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, indeed. Other than that, I haven't found anything else
All
that
right.
I think
Okay.
is acceptable.
As corrected.
All right, and that's just accepted then with corrections. So then we move on to item 4, which is our approval of bills paid and bills payable. Anything special we need to know about any of those? It's kind of standard from what I
Standard fare.
reviewed, all right. Any questions?
Nothing to mention.
All right, then I would entertain a motion for those, please.
I move that we pay the bills, bill payables list submitted for our approval to the full amount of $283,232.94.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Jason. And roll call.
Carl?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Crystal?
And unanimous, thank you. All right, then we move on to item 5, committee reports. And I don't think we've had any actual committees that have met to report, but we do need to set one. Jason, Building and Grounds is due. Do you have a schedule that works for you that we can talk amongst ourselves? That committee is made up of you, me, Pro Tem, Vicky, and
Is Lisa the other one?
is then the new one, right? So what do you, what
And
kind
we
of schedule
probably
works
want
for
to
you?
have a walkthrough at a time that Lance is available.
Right, so daytime.
Let's see. I have like the 30th open. If you wanna do
That Friday?
That Friday, if we wanted to do sometime like after, like noon.
I would have to be afternoon, yeah, because I teach till 11, but I could do starting at noon.
You know, I mean, like noon, like that's when I would be starting at noon.
Any-
Would be when I would,
Sure.
anytime after that, before 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Does
spend
that
the work in.
work for you? Now, I don't know what Lisa's schedule is for that. A lot of times she's busy during the week, but let's check with her and see if that will fit.
I will send around an email poll
Sure.
to everyone to make sure that sometime between noon and
Okay, great, thank you. All right, excellent. That'll be good to have a review of where things stand now.
yeah.
All right, then that covers committee reports. So then Julie, your report, please.
Yes.
Which hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at.
Let's see. Yes. We do have on the agenda the Limerick Intergovernmental Agreement. That is an update. The primary piece that we do with Limerick right now is the unemployment group compensation account. And as a matter of fact, that is the one bill that was not on your bills list today because the report was done and shortly after our accounts payable clerk had left for the day, and we went, oh, we should probably do that and get it signed today. So Chris was kind enough to get those taken care of. We have been interviewing for the ILS manager position for the Pinnacle Library Cooperative, and we have actually made an offer to a candidate, and we are waiting impatiently to hear back.
And that's a change in that position.
And that is a
They've
change. It used to
restructured
be
that?
a system administrator position, and we restructured it. It is the only paid employee of the Pinnacle Library Cooperative, which is our catalog group. And it had been the sysadmin very much on kind of the technical side. We decided that as we are growing, we really need somebody who's more leadership oriented as well as technical, so kind of the balance between the two. So we made it the ILS manager and kind of expanded some of the duties into that more administrative kind of things, so that they will be taking more of a leadership role with our committees, making more recommendations to the governing board, that sort of thing. So we have at least one excellent candidate we'd really like to have.
Good.
And then on Lyra, I had updated you all that it hadn't made it into my librarian's report, but it was in my Monday note to you all about Lyra and our renewals. The overall liability package for Lyra went down 2% in premium for the 2016 year. We will be adding a new coverage for cyber liability, and that will be mandatory for all members and will become part of our regular liability package, which is huge for us because that's really the direction they're seeing a lot of the problems in libraries going, and to have that coverage is just, it's a great thing to be able to get that at a really reasonable rate. So with adding that to the package, our overall renewal is only a 5% increase. So that's really great. So our total package is $17,824 for 2016. And then on the workers' comp side, each individual member of Lyra gets their own workers' comp quote based on their own experience, et cetera, and that is first dollar coverage. Our workers' comp premium went down 19%. So yay us. And they are looking at this, the November meeting, to pass a new policy for the distribution of surplus. We are entering year 4 of the pool, so this will be the first year that they do an actuarial study of the initial years and look at how much is considered surplus, and at returning that surplus to the members. So we're very excited for that. And the surplus for each year would be distributed in increments over a period of 3 years once that actuarial study is done. So as the pool matures, we have potential to be receiving up to 3 distribution of surplus checks per year back from the pool once we get into year 6. So looking forward to having this pool really start to pay in spades for having gone through what it took to set it up. And I think that was all for my library report.
Before we move on to the next item, I just wanted to tag into 2 things that were on the reports. First, I just wanted to mention publicly that I think it's great that we were able to get the bench and the plaque in honor of Randy Lambert with the monies that were donated on his behalf. I think that was great, and that'll be a nice public reminder. And then I wanted to ask a question that whoever does meeting room reservation reports, do we track requests that are made and denied because we do not have room available? And if we do not, could we make that part of the report?
We do, and we can do that. A lot of times though, they're making their own reservations, so we have no way of knowing.
Because they can go on the online reservation system, they can see that the room is not available for the time, and they don't generate a request because the room's not available for their time. So there's really no way to track who went into the calendar and was unable to find a time that.
Kind of wanting to know how many people are
Being
not
running
doing
into
it. Yeah,
issues.
which is
Right. But I can most definitely, when I talk to somebody on the phone, if they have a problem, contact me, I can, note that at the bottom of this report, but it
Sure.
would not be a true denial rate.
Okay.
Can that, you got anything in your like analytics?
There's no way
It's not our website.
There's no way to tell, and it's not our website, that takes them, that events calendar is a hosted solution, so it's not part of our web analytics.
Well, and
And
they
we
would have
would-
to generate a denial. If they just
Exactly.
look for an availability and
Right.
don't see
Yeah.
one, then that's not gonna capture any data.
No, but it would track whether you
Looked.
looked or not.
Could we add a line that would be something about capacity of usage? Like if we know we have so many rooms available, so many hours, how much of that is being used on a monthly basis?
I don't know, but we can
Yeah,
try.
thank you. Thank you. All right. That's all I had, thank you.
Do you want to business up in front of the
Yes.
unfinished, so that we
That
can.
would be good. We
Or
have
at
a
least-
couple of guests.
At least the audit presentation, and then we could jump back to the rest.
We're certainly happy to have you stay and
I mean,
hear about the building expansion.
If you were
If you'd
off-
like, but.
If you were offered, I will take it. So, I was looking at, uh-oh.
Yes, if you'd like to leap forward, please.
Okay, all right, I'm going from right
Thanks,
here.
Brian.
Okay, so this is the June 30th, 2015 audit report, the fancy packet you got right there.
Yay.
And for those of you who haven't met me, I'm Joe Martin. I'm a partner at Ryan's Apple Associates. I haven't been here to present before, but I've been on this audit since the beginning. So I'll kind of walk you through as many pages as I can without sending you guys into an extra hour and into a sleep.
We appreciate it.
/ slumber, yes. Pages 1 and 2 are the most important of the whole thing. That's the opinion letter. In those 2 pages, basically it says the district received an unqualified opinion, which is the clean report. So during the course of the audit, we didn't find any material misstatements and your books were in good order. Those 2 pages won't say that exactly anywhere, but that's what they mean. So it'll be murmured with GASB accounting mumbo jumbo, but what it means is you guys had a good clean report, that's the opinion you want, and that's the one you should demand. So you guys got it, your books were in excellent order, so thank you for that. I won't read the MD&A to you, those are all the pages named MD&A 1 through 5, or I think you guys actually go through 7. Basically what it does is it takes all the numbers and puts them to a narrative. It's a requirement of governmental accounting standards boards, so for the audit we're required to put it in there, but if you wanted some nighttime reading, that would be a good spot to go. But I will read a couple things off regular page 3. At the top it's called Statement of Net Position. And I'll highlight a couple things for you guys. This is just like your regular balance sheet, but it's full accrual. And what it does is it takes into account, this year we had that new item with IMRF. I'm sure you guys have heard about the whole GASB 67 and 68. This is the first year implementation, so I'm going to spend some time talking about that. I'll show you the notes too. But basically what this report generated was 2 new line items. You have an asset called Deferred Outflows IMRF. It was $356,000. You can't spend that money, but basically what it is it's a capture in time of all the different accruals that go into that actuarial report. And there's some items you have already paid, and there's an overlap at December 31st financials versus June 30th. All that's captured there, so you basically already paid down $356,000 essentially of the liability that's on the books, which if you look down at liabilities, there's a net pension liability of just over $1 million. So it's a big number, but there's already $350 on the books. And I'll show you later on how they basically use some different discount rates to come up with this. Obviously, it's just a guess using different compound rates, which was the big fight about it. But you'll see the difference what 1% means when I'll show you those. So I've done quite a few of these already, and even though that's a big, scary number, you guys still have an unrestricted fund balance that's positive, positive by over 300,000 or right at 300,000. So even with that going on your books, your balance sheet is still very healthy. So not everybody can say that. That's a quick summary of that. Page 5 is your normal looking balance sheet. Just kind of does your general, your special revenue, and your other governmental funds. For there, you guys, like I said, you ended with cash just below $3.6 million. Of that, $304,226 was special revenue. From a cash increase from last year, it was slightly over $390,000 more than last year. So your cash position improved quite a bit. So that kind of was reflected in some of those other balance sheet numbers on the page 3. Page 7 shows how you got there with revenues and expenditures. For the year, you guys' revenues came in at just under $3.8 million. That was about $66,000 over the prior year. Your general fund balance was $1,093,213. I always look at that as how many months worth of operating expenditures is that? That puts you guys right about 4 months worth of annual operating expenditures. State recommends 3 to 6. So that's a good spot to be in as well. A lot of districts have been, 1, 2 weeks. So to have that sitting there is a good thing. After that is, did you have some question?
No,
Oh.
that would give me heart palpitations
Oh,
to
yeah.
have only a couple of weeks. I don't think I could do that.
I do quite a few of those. Pages 9 to 23 are all the notes to the financial statements. Again, I won't dare read all those to you, but that is all the accounting rules and regulations. But I will point out the ones that talk about that new net pension liability. If you look at page 22, it shows a little summary of how that liability was calculated. Again, all these numbers come from about a 40-page actuarial report. And then of that actuarial report, we've kind of combined all that information into 4 pages to show what comes onto the balance sheet. So they take in all your IMRF information and come up with that balance. As you'll see, everything starts as a 1/1/2014. That was the required starting date, and with IMRF being a calendar year, that's not a typo, that is actually when it starts. And then below it, you see how they calculate those deferred outflows of resources, basically stuff that you'd already have paid, and the different assumptions as they change them for the year. So that's the two assets, or the asset and the liability there. Page 23.
Quick question.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So next year then, that will say balances as of July 1, because we'll go back
Correct.
to
Correct.
the fiscal year. All right.
Yep,
Just
it'll
18 months.
revert back, yep.
Okay.
Page 23 shows that rate sensitivity, if you look in the middle of the page there. The rate they used was 7.48% for their discount rate. If it were to go to 8.48, it takes $700,000 off the liability. If it goes to 6.4, it adds $800,000 to liability. So I don't know any other way to show you how sensitive it is to that assumption. And that was the big fight about GASB 67 and 68, is how are you going to put this on our balance sheet books? For a lot of groups that were going out for bonds that had to be rated based on their balance sheet, they didn't want something that wasn't an actual cash flow payment to hurt their unrestricted positions. But again, you guys are in a positive position even with it on your books, so that's solid. And this is gonna be a living, breathing thing. It's gonna change, I have a strange feeling, in 2 or 3 more years. So some people have called it the Actuarial Job Protection Act. So they are in. If you have college-age children, I would recommend that as a career right now, because it's in high demand, I know. And the prior period adjustment has nothing to do with your guys' accounting records. It is all because of the IMRF GASB 67 and 68. Because they started with the beginning balance, we have to take that into account. So that's what that is, and everybody who has IMRF is getting one of those little notes that says, this is that new change, so. And the back.
Is that a one-time again?
Yes, you will not see
Okay.
that one again, of course, unless they go back and change
Well.
what they've already done. So I won't be on record.
I'm not holding
saying-
you to anything.
Yeah, don't
Right.
hold me to that. However, I have been told it's not gonna happen again.
Okay.
I hope not, they put a lot of time and work into this. The pages after this are basically all the details, so if you were to look for a specific fund, it goes through all those in great detail, showing all your budget items, all your line items specifically. I won't dare read all those to you, but what I will say from an overall audit perspective, everybody here was great working with us. We asked for a lot of your guys' records, receipts, invoices, we go through every bank statement, and we're here quite a few days, and I'm sure we're loved, but happy when we're gone. And everybody's great with us, you know. Your guys' records are in really good order, like I said, the accounting is doing really well. The only thing I would recommend is just on internal controls, they are a living, breathing thing as you guys change. So I know last year we talked about adding something to the coin counter so that you guys could tie up to that, and that's already been done, which is wonderful. It counts like ticks and ties. And going forward, I would just continue to do that. And sometimes, even though policies are in a book, I'll do, you know, a walkthrough and actually follow the transaction through lifetime. And as board members, that's something you can occasionally do too, just to see how a transaction actually happens.
Feel
So
free to
libraries-
come in early one morning and follow Michelle Peterson through the, how we get the money back out of the copy
Yeah.
machines
And
and
Chris
the
comes in
coin
on Thursday
boxes.
morning, so you can come and watch him on Thursday morning.
Oh,
As it counts through.
That's right, just stand around.
Yeah.
But again, otherwise, everything is in really good order, so I appreciate everybody's help with putting together this audit. But
Thank you for good news.
yes, thank you. And I know it's a lot to look at once, so if there's questions, you can always call.
Yeah. Nothing off the top of my head.
Okay.
But overall, I think, thank you and thank you to Kelly for getting us through this audit. This has been a big shift with Laura leaving us, Kelly coming on board, getting ourselves through a change of accounting software, and getting through the audit on the old software. It's kind of a challenging year, and it's nice to be able to say, and done.
All that's left is the comptroller's report for your guys' annual filings, and that's already
You
ready to
guys
go.
do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Already emailed it out, so we're good.
Counts as thing.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah, we already double checked and made sure that all of the changes were made on the who's responsible, and we got all of the previous accountants
Yep.
information on.
Yep, that's been
so.
updated, so you guys
All
are good there
good.
too. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
And thank you for moving me as well, I appreciate
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And the room clears out a little bit.
All right, and you, well, let's see, no, we need to pass the resolution for that. So
It is now
perhaps,
accepted for final.
right,
Yes, we.
back up to 7 then. and-
Oh yeah, you guys should probably formally make the motion to accept
Oh.
the audit
Accept the audit, right. All right, I would entertain
as
this one.
presented.
I move that we accept the audit. as
Second.
Second.
All right,
All right, roll call.
we'll go this way. Crystal,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Vicki, Pat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yay, it's an audit. It's a bouncing baby audit, okay.
And it's balloons. All right, so now we will step back to the action items that are unfinished business. First being the building and expansion planning discussion.
Do you want to do the telephone survey bit first so that we can spring Todd?
Oh,
here?
and we've set
Not a
this.
very long
And Constance
presentation.
did duck in here as we were getting started, so. Take it away, Todd. Tell us about our
Great, yes.
telephone survey.
Well,
fund.
it's a pleasure to be here. I know I missed several of your meetings, so I wanted to be here tonight to sort of wrap up on the telephone poll we completed last month. Kim is here. She did all the telephone interviews, so if you have questions, I'm sure we can answer them on your behalf. So I just wanted to highlight just a few items in our report, which was delivered.
And it starts on page 69 of your board packet, is the outer cover of that.
So just a couple of areas I want to call attention to. It's not very heavy reading, it's not a very long document, but it does capture a lot of the community sentiment that we were able to develop from likely voters in your potential referendum. So just a few things I wanted to note. One is that we did some mapping, of course. We looked at support and the undecideds in terms of the polling. And just wanted to call attention that the area immediately surrounding this library, this site, is not quite as supportive as when you reach out into some of the other areas of the community. So you should be aware of that when you're developing your campaign in terms of where your areas of support are and where your areas of undecidedness is, because those are the folks that are really going to cast more of your future, because that is about 27 to 30% of the voters that kind of withheld their opinion as far as deciding if there was for or against. So that's going to play very, very important in terms of how the final numbers pan out if it is on the ballot in March. So I just wanted to kind of call that into your attention. And as us in the design world and consultants, that is sort of the NIMBY effect, not in my backyard. So that is probably prevalent in some folks' mind in terms of their opinions on where it should be and the validity of this location, which overall was very positive. But obviously the folks surrounding this area, the downtown area, are not quite as supportive. Not bad, but you should just be aware of that. And as I mentioned, we really need to focus on the undecideds. When you look at the folks that are your greatest supporters, that's about 27%. The ones that are really against the initiative, and it's really more of a tax-based question. It's not that they don't love the library, it's not that they don't see the need to do the renovations, it's that they just don't want to see a tax increase on their bill. So that's really where that's driven. And that's at 23%. So you have the strong support and you have the strong opposition, and then you have everybody in the middle, which is almost 50%. Either they were soft yeses, soft no's, or really the folks that just withheld their opinion. So when we do the next poll for you, if you want to engage in that, there won't be that sort of gray area. It'll be a yes or no response, whether you're going to support the initiative or not. So we're going to force them to decide on whether they really are leaning towards it or against it. So we'll report that back to you. So just want to make you aware that that 50% swing is going to play a big part in what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 months if you do decide to put it on the ballot in March. So we just really need to measure that and get you some good information on likelihood of that 50% of what's going to happen, where they're really going to go. Hopefully they'll go to the good side, which if we split the baby, we're going to be in a good position, but we just don't know that just quite yet. So, and the folks that are really against you, I don't think you're going to convince them that this is a wonderful investment into the community as much as we know it is. They were pretty strong, value was almost 80%, were just didn't want to see the tax increase. So the other things we had on there in terms of other opinions, it's not the right time, it's not the right project, et cetera, those had very little effect in terms of people's opinions on your potential initiative. So that's really most of what's in the report. Just moving forward, I just want to call a couple things to